voting yes or no on Amendment 4 in Florida.
So I think 6 weeks, you need more time than 6 weeks. I've disagreed with that right from the early primaries. When I heard about it, I disagreed with it. At the same time, the Democrats are radical because the 9 months is just a ridiculous situation where you can do an abortion in the 9th month. And, you know, some of the states like Minnesota and other states have it where you could actually execute the baby after birth. And all of that stuff is unacceptable.
Kamala Harris, who has had a radical position on the issue of abortion. Many Democrats believe that you can have an abortion not only up until the last week, but also in some cases after the baby's been born.
Well, and I will say that to be clear, in a number of states, there is abortion allowed through pregnancy, and that includes a measure that Governor Tim Walz signed in Minnesota. But Democrats say they absolutely disavow the idea of infanticide or of a baby that does survive an abortion, somehow their life being taken at that point. We can continue that debate because there are a number of states that do allow it through pregnancy. But I think everybody agrees infanticide is illegal and wrong.
Oh, that's gotta hurt!
Now, it's not every day that Fox News offer a fact check of the brazen lies that Trump spews. Hell, he just gave an interview on the network in which he was given free rein to say whatever this is.
Whoever heard you get indicted for interfering with a presidential election where you have every right to do it? You get indicted and your poll numbers go up. When people get indicted, your poll numbers go down.
So I guess we'll hold the applause for now. However, when it comes to the abhorrent lie that Trump and many of his minions continue to regurgitate whenever they're given the opportunity, claiming without evidence that Democrats support late-term abortions, up to and even after the moment of birth, it appears that Fox News host Shannon Bream saw another $787 million lawsuit flash before her eyes, so she had to push back in real time.
Here's what the president told Brian Yennis.
Oh, I don't think so. I don't think they feel betrayed at all. They love me. I'm the one that got rid of Roe v. Wade.
But here's what one prominent pro-life activist, Lila Rose, told Politico. She says, I think it's foolish what he's doing. It's politically unwise. It may cost him the election, and it's morally unprincipled as well. Right now, it's all about turnout. If he wants to galvanize his base, he needs to stop trying to pander to Kamala Harris's base because they're never going to vote for him anyway. She says no one owns the pro-life vote. She says, listen, she doesn't think a bunch of people are going to go vote for Harris, but she may stay home. She's telling other people to stay home. In a race this tight, can you afford to offend that constituency?
Well, look, if she chooses to stay home, then by, tacit endorsement, she's supporting Kamala Harris, who has had a radical position on the issue of abortion. Many Democrats believe that you can have an abortion not only up until the last week, but also in some cases after the baby's been born. What Donald Trump has said was, let's have the states decide. They are the laboratories of democracy. Let's turn this back. And that's what Roe v. Wade really did. And so we see across this country right now opportunities for individuals to go and vote at the ballot box of what they want to see transpire in their state. And every state is going to look a little different. And Shannon, we have seen some relatively or very conservative states go to a position where women are giving opportunities that you would not have expected because of that. But those states understand, whether it's Ohio or Kansas, that women have the opportunity to make their own decisions, and the states are allowing that to happen. So what Donald Trump has done, and I think by and large the American people support this, is Roe v. Wade has been overturned because of his 3 Supreme Court nominees that are now sitting on the bench, and they've put it back to the states, and it's a decision at the local level now.
Well, and I will say that to be clear, in a number of states, there is abortion allowed through pregnancy, and that includes a measure that Governor Tim Walz signed in Minnesota. But Democrats say they absolutely disavow the idea of infanticide or of a baby that does survive an abortion, somehow their life being taken at that point. We can continue that debate because there are a number of states that do allow it through pregnancy. But I think everybody agrees infanticide is illegal and wrong.
Now, as you may have noticed during the uptake of Trump's unhinged ramblings that seem to be every day now, he has reiterated this grotesque lie. I mean, if you look back to the first presidential debate, he said it openly. But it seems that it wasn't noteworthy enough for moderators Jake Tapper and Dana Bash to push back on.
He can take the life of the baby in the 9th month and even after birth, because some states, Democrat run, take it after birth. Again, the former governor of Virginia, put the baby down, then we decide what to do with it. So he's willing to, as we say, rip the baby out of the womb in the 9th month and kill the baby. Nobody wants that to happen, Democrat or Republican. Nobody wants it to happen.
That is simply not true. The Roe v. Wade does not provide for that. That's not the circumstance. Only if a woman's life is in danger, she's going to die. That's the only circumstance in which that can happen. But we are not for late-term abortion, period. Period, period.
While a handful of states do not impose any term restrictions on abortion, it does not mean people are seeking or supporting abortion at the end of pregnancies. In 2021, nearly all of abortions, 93.5% to be precise, were performed at 13 weeks or less of gestation, according to the Center for Disease Control and Prevention. Just 0.9% were performed at 21 weeks or more. Experts have chimed in time and time again saying that abortions after 21 weeks are exceedingly rare, difficult to obtain, and often extremely expensive. And when they do occur, it's often due to a medical emergency.
One does not have to abandon their faith, right? Their faith or their deeply held beliefs to agree the government should not be telling that woman what to do with her body. Mm-hmm. This evokes, in my mind, very fundamental rights, including the right to freedom for each individual to make a decision about what is in their best interest, the best interest of their family. And if they choose, make that decision with their priest or their pastor or their rabbi. But the government should not be making this decision. Mm-hmm. On the mifepristone issue, it's politicians finding a court, targeting a specific court that they thought would be helpful to them, to take a medication off the market which was approved 20 years ago by the Federal Drug Administration. Yes. Think about that. I'd ask anybody to look in their medicine cabinet, and any drug that you have prescribed by a doctor to alleviate your pain or extend the quality of your life has been FDA approved. And arguably, what they're doing with mifepristone could happen to any one of those drugs in your medicine cabinet.
But here's the thing. When the audience that Trump is appealing to think that he's a God-fearing man, you know, this despite 3 marriages, 34 felony counts, and being found as an adjudicated rapist.
You've been a man of faith. You go to church. You believe in God. Has this further your belief, your commitment, and obviously God, in addition to that chart, saved your life. He has a purpose for you. Do you think about these things?
Well, I think you believe more because when you speak to experts, like my sons who are shooting experts, but when you speak to experts, they said there was no chance that he could have missed from that distance. I think he was hurried. I think he was rushed because people were starting to say, like, you know, there's a guy up there with a gun.
Too many Christians have forgotten all about Jesus and now worship at the feet of Donald Trump. A business cheat, a pathological liar, a serial adulterer, a twice impeached insurrectionist, a convicted felon, an adjudicated rapist. I guess it's hate the sin, elect the sinner. That seems to be the new motto of too many Christians in this country. And so I just try to ask myself a simple question when I engage in this democracy, in the political process. What would Jesus do? You know, I remember when I was a kid, people walked around with those bracelets with the letters WWJD. And I think that question is still relevant today in this election. What would Jesus do about a tax system that benefits the rich over the poor? What would Jesus do about a healthcare system that forces the sick to start GoFundMe pages to afford life-saving surgeries? What would Jesus do about an education system that ties a child's school funding to their community's property wealth? These are the questions that we Christians should be asking ourselves when we walk into that voting booth this November. And I'll just speak for myself. My faith leads me to support Vice President Harris and Governor Walz in this election out of love for my neighbors.
You understand why he continues to spread it, because he knows that they don't care. However, it should be the job of journalists sitting across from him to push back on this, which, and I can't believe I'm saying it, more people need to speak out like Shannon Breen did here, in response to Corey Lewandowski, as he was sent in with his marching orders to spread this lie again and again. And of course it becomes tiresome with the amount of lies that Trump spews. I mean, the man literally keeps Daniel Dale at CNN in a job. His job is to fact check lies. But we cannot get complacent, because that's what Trump and the MAGA affiliated members want so desperately. They want to be able to say things like this on air without anybody questioning it. And I can imagine that Corey Lewandowski didn't expect any sort of pushback on Fox News. And who can blame him after there was zero pushback to whatever this was that Trump was saying?
They also announced they're very low on ammunition. When I came in, they announced we had no ammunition. And I said, number one, who's the stupid person saying that? You could tell a couple of people, but who's the person that wants to say the United States has no ammunition? We're giving it to all of our people all over the world, in particular Ukraine. We're giving them massive, billions of dollars of stuff. And I rebuilt our military, all in 4 years. I have great people. I had great people doing this. And I restocked our ammunition. We had so much ammunition, it was coming out the gills, as they say. We had missiles, now we don't have ammunition. How would you like to be President Xi sitting there saying America has no ammunition? We're so vulnerable.
Please do not tell me that both parties are the same.
Real quick, Meta just changed their algorithm to suppress political content. Please follow our Instagram at MeidasTouch right now as we head towards 400,000 followers so you don't miss a beat.